after.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. I'm Judge Martin. Let me start. Ms. Colon, I've just given your phone number to Mr. Hollander. He's going to try to call you. If you have to drop off of this call to take his call, go ahead and take that. It is my expectation that you would be present in court today because I'm told by the team we have a matter to discuss. I see that you're in a car, so I don't know if you're making your way to the courthouse. But Mr. Hollander is here in 1 Alpha, and like I said, he's just stepped out to give you a call. So I want you to have access to him. Are you making your way to the courthouse? You're on mute.
I am right across the street because I wanted to log in for the Wi-Fi thing.
Okay, well, I'm going to actually have you appear in person. So if you want to make your way to the courthouse, and like I said, Mr. Hollander's here, and he should be calling you, courtroom 1A, 1 Alpha.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can go back on mute and drop off if you need to. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled to have a celebration for you here today. And I've got Bayless in the courtroom. All right, well, I'm gonna have to stay masked up because I'm not alone in the courtroom, but very excited to be celebrating a big milestone for Ms. Gonzalez today. Ms. Gonzalez, there's a great big smile under this mask, so sorry that I have to be masked up. But I want to welcome you and welcome everybody who has joined us. I see Ms. Rivera, and I think there may be a few others who are either alum or visitors, so thank you all for joining us. Ms. Gonzalez, I'm really excited to celebrate with you today and enjoy this milestone. I started to prepare for today's ceremony really the same way I always do, which is I look back at the file and refresh my memory as to what your contract terms were and so forth. And the first thing that I noticed was that, frankly, the paperwork lied. The file doesn't reflect anything at all like what we have experienced. It looks like you pled in yesterday and here you are, because there's nothing else in there after your contract. No sanctions, no violations of probation. It makes it look like this was one big walk in the park for you. I think that's the part that's not quite truthful. Is that a fair statement, or was this easy?
No, that's a fair statement, definitely.
So I had to chuckle just a little bit. And, you know, we've had people come through drug court before with no sanctions, and we've had people come through drug court before with a dozen sanctions. And I'll be very honest, neither one is a reliable predictor of how you're going to do going forward. But I think it's noteworthy, particularly with everything that's been going on, that you have worked very, very hard to follow everything and really get yourself through this program well. And I also, it took me down memory lane here a little bit. You had, by my count, you had a month of quote unquote normal drug court before the pandemic. It might not have even been that much. And scattered in there was our great big ceremony to become a national mentor court. So that was a goofy day. I think I'd only talked to you maybe one time since your plea before we went dark. And we shut down for 6 whole weeks, which is a fact that I'll never quite be okay with. I'm really privileged to be on a group right now that's working to make sure that never happens again, that no matter what they throw at us, we stay up for you guys. But I know how freaked out I was for those 6 weeks. And so I can only imagine how that must have felt for you and for your brothers and sisters in this program. I think most of the ladies who are on this call today came into drug court after the start of the pandemic. I know there's a few, Ms. Rivera among them, who came in before that. Even the ladies who came in since the pandemic, maybe especially, they certainly know how hard the first month of drug court can be. Now you layer on top of that the fact that the courthouse is suddenly closed overnight. There's no court, no probation, no treatment, no drug testing. The case managers are scrambling around trying to at least get you all by phone, and God bless them for everything that they did. Probation got back online pretty fast, but it was one incredible time. A nightmare really for someone, especially someone who's genuinely interested in getting clean and succeeding, but has absolutely no idea how to actually do any of that yet. And so that's the backdrop where our relationship and our work together started. In the end, I think that there's a few things from where I sit that look like they were really important to you, and I point them out because it may be something other folks can take advantage of. You had a few things that you made into strong advantages. You had a supportive family. Not everybody has that. You had a place to stay and a place to work that was also supportive. And that was tremendous because we know that housing and employment are two of the biggest barriers to new people in drug court. So those were advantages. Some people have that and don't make anything out of it. You made a lot out of those advantages. The second thing that I identified, Ms. Gonzalez, was your attitude. I frankly don't know whether that comes naturally to you or whether you have to work really hard at it. But as far as I can tell, you have always brought a really positive and pleasant attitude to everyone on this team, and no matter what we were asking you to do. And I'm not sure if everyone realizes what a big deal that is, despite the fact that I say it all the time, but attitude is huge in recovery. First, you need the help of others. And it's just plain easier to help someone who comes to you with a great attitude. But it's more than that. When you bring that attitude with you to take on a big challenge like this, you set yourself up to succeed. You make your own truth. Yours was simply a desire to get better and to be a healthy part of your family, and that's exactly what you did. Along the way, you incorporated one thing at a time. First a job, then a sponsor, then an exercise routine, then daily prayer, then some service work. Each piece of the puzzle revealed more and more of your strength and your ability to reach these goals that once seemed impossible. You've expressed pride now that you can contribute to your family, that you can be an asset rather than a drain on everyone else, especially when they've gone through tough times and they've needed you. You are dependable and you're healthy, and you've turned that outward toward others and built a network of people who help support you and whom you help support. On top of all of that, I have to note, you gave me what instantly became my favorite recovery saying. I don't know that you said it first, but you said it to me first, and that was this. Do you remember it first? You have any idea where I'm going with this?
I have an idea, but I'm not sure. Go ahead.
Move a muscle, change a thought. I love that, because you know I've got a huge bias about movement and wellness and just finding whatever way it is for you to help your body heal and help get healthier. And I loved when you were talking about a down day, a challenging day, and you were going through things. You said, I had to get a little creative because I had to stay home. But you figured out a way to move a muscle, and those thoughts moved on, and you got yourself back into a safer mental space. I love that maxim. I think there's a lot of genius in that. And so I thank you for bringing that one to me. All of that is to say, Ms. Gonzalez, on behalf of the whole team, we're just incredibly proud of what you have started here. Remember, it's only a beginning, but we encourage you to keep it up. Keep adding little things along the way to your routine that will continue to give you support, and most importantly, to help you really enjoy this beautiful life that you're putting together for yourself. Congratulations, Ms. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Judge Martin.
Ms. Gonzalez, we've got a certificate waiting for you at David Lawrence, so one of the case managers can reach out and let you know how to grab that. We've got a few of our autographs on it, just a little memento. And with that, James, are you going to be speaking for treatment today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. You have the mic.
So I've been reflecting on one word that you taught me. Golpeados. And I think that pretty much describes how you were when you first got into drug court. And then you decided that it was time to get some work done. And you progressed from stage to stage to stage. You took advantage of everything that we have to offer. And then you realized that not only do I need to be here, but I want to be here. And that's when you really started to take advantage of everything that the drug court program and other treatment resources that are available to everyone. And you've just grown and evolved. It's been amazing to watch that journey, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have witnessed that journey. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you accomplish in aftercare. I know that you and I are going to continue to do some work together. I know that you're going to do some work with me and some work with Brooke and Jason and Nikki and everybody else, and we are a resource. This is simply the next phase, the next part of the transition. And we will always be available to you and any other drug court member who needs that 10 minutes over the phone. That 10 minutes over the phone that can make the difference between relapsing or choosing another course of action that leads you to a continued life of strong, happy, and independent sobriety. And that's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Well stated. Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, you have the floor. Your story of experience, strength, and hope.
All right. Thank you, Judge Martin. And thank you, James. That was very sweet. Okay, I'm a little nervous. I don't know why. But so my name's Jenny. I'm an alcoholic and an addict. You guys can hear me okay? All right. So it's interesting because when I first entered the rooms, which was a while back, I felt like I didn't meet the necessary requirements, and I felt kind of like out of place. I was almost, I was in denial because I didn't have any traumatic experiences growing up. I was raised in a loving family. I had a roof over my head. You know, I didn't really have like any reasons behind turning to drugs and alcohol. But I soon realized that addiction has no preference. It doesn't discriminate. So that's where I am, as we all know now. As I mentioned before, my childhood was great. I was a happy kid. I remember having self-esteem issues kind of like in grade school, but it wasn't, you know, anything too serious. I was pretty spoiled for the most part. My parents were understanding, they were loving. Everything was pretty good. I remember wanting to fit in high school, as most of us do, and it wasn't till, you know, late high school where I kind of started, you know, skipping school, drinking here and there, nothing too serious. I remember I picked up shoplifting, so I did try to do the whole college thing, and once I caught that shoplifting charge, it kind of got in the way of I let it get in the way of my education. And then once I was in the system, you know, I was on probation, and that, for whatever reason, kind of made me want to rebel more. That, along with curiosity and, you know, the jobs that I chose, it was just kind of a recipe for disaster. So I found out early on that, like, I liked being the life of the party. You know, it helped my insecurities, and I liked the feeling of feeling like somebody. So, you know, I continued drinking. I was pretty big into the rave scene, you know. So shortly after is kind of when my string of toxic relationships began. One in particular ended in multiple arrests, you know, so it was just a never-ending cycle of getting arrested, being on probation, violating probation, so on and so forth. And like I said before, you know, that type of like that structure made me kind of want to just go the other way. And I wasn't really raised with too much structure. I was more raised with love and affection rather than that. So, and in these relationships, I basically just kind of received the love that I thought I deserved. I didn't really think too much of myself. So the relationships that I was in, you know, I wasn't treated fairly. I was taken advantage of very often. I was just kind of stepped on a lot. I always diminished the amount of partying that I was doing. You know, I never saw it as a problem. I just liked to party. So as my addiction blossomed, and I didn't know this was an addiction at the time, but now I'm seeing that that's where it was beginning. My bonds with my family and my close friends, they loosened. So I continued to party. I just drank through any little breakups or situations that I had, and it just continued on. It got to a point where I would leave the house and I would make sure I would have a little water bottle full of vodka, and I would have that in my car. You know, I would be drinking and driving, you know, and it was just kind of like a thing. It turned into it. So it happened gradually, but it was just kind of like something normal. It became something normal to me. So I continued on with these toxic relationships and toxic friendships and things like that. And I got into sticky situations all the time. My next really kind of serious relationship, which was also toxic, was a man who he was a nurse for a few years, so he knew his way around a needle. And what now I know was an addiction, combined with that and with his skills, it was, you know, it wasn't good at all. So that kind of spiraled pretty quickly. We eventually graduated from pills to harder things. So then it got bad. After car accidents, overdoses, more arrests, losing jobs. My parents, they were devastated and desperate. So they sent me to a rehab. And in this rehab, it was on the other coast of Florida. And I was introduced to the rooms, but for whatever reason, you know, I just didn't think that was kind of my thing. I didn't see it as a solution. And I did want to be sober. I knew I had gotten a little worse than what I had intended, but I don't know, nothing was sticking really. And I see now that I just wasn't ready, and it's crazy that that's how it works. But but yeah, so it worked for a little while. I would string, maybe like a couple months here and there, but I would always find the bad crowd there too, and I would always end up relapsing. I would get back sent through the system, through the program, and they would try again with me, and it was just nothing was sticking. So I would get kicked out of the rehab. I tried to do this halfway house. I would get kicked out for drinking, and I ended up staying in another place, and I was only just drinking, so I felt like I was cured because hey, I'm just drinking, it's not that bad, and at least I'm not as bad as that guy, and I always said that. And but I was miserable, and I think my parents didn't know really, like, to the extent how bad it got over there, but they knew that I wasn't happy, so they let me move back home. And when I moved back home, I felt, as I was cured and all. I got a job, and I was, trying to, give in to the family and stuff like that, and do my part. But then April 1st of 2018, we got some horrible news. My mom got diagnosed with stage 3 lung cancer. Now, mind you, at this point, I haven't really accepted or held on to any of the tools that I learned in all those institutions and rehabs and halfway houses and meetings. There was nothing that was really sticking for me. And so naturally, I fell back into the harder stuff. And that was kind of like the only coping that I really knew worked, and that worked for me. So, it was difficult because I was now living at home, so I had to really kind of hide this stuff. And I tried to manage, how and I was mainly just maintaining, but it was, I had to find ways to numb. Like, this was too much, and I was not prepared to handle something like this. So yeah, I mean, I tried my best, which wasn't really great. And as I got a little worse, she got worse as well. She started getting more and more sick. I ended up getting fired over drug-related things from the job that I had at that point in time. And so I was, supposed to stay home and take care for her. And I'm still, till this day, I'm still dealing with, like, the guilt and the shame, but I'm working through it, and that's what this program is about. So yeah, so I felt hopeless. I felt helpless. I felt just like I wasn't able to do anything. And it was really, really hard seeing her get worse and worse and worse. She passed away February 22nd of 2019. And I was in a state of shock. I wanted to end it all. I tried a few different times. One time I got Narcan. It wasn't meant to happen. But I remember self-harming. I remember just doing everything and anything to get my mind far from the reality that was happening. And I felt this pressure to, like, fill her shoes and all of that. It was hard. It was really difficult, and I didn't have the support that I have today. And I would say I'm gonna do a detox. I'm gonna get sober. I can do this, but it wouldn't stick. I would fall back. I would fall off again. So in October of 2019, I overdosed at the wheel, and I hit a stop sign. Thank goodness I didn't hurt anybody else or myself. I got arrested. I bonded out, like, that same night, and that wasn't enough, obviously. I mean, I said to myself, furthermore, okay, this time for real, I really gotta, get clean. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this. But it's something that it's just really, really difficult to do on your own. So I felt helpless once again. 2 months later, I caught another charge. It was a possession charge. My sobriety date is January 3rd of last year. And it started then because I was in jail. I got arrested January 2nd. And I had to sit in jail for 2 months, shaking, sweating. I had like a bug also, so I was sick. It was like a horrible, horrible, horrible experience. I also got news that my most recent ex had passed away. And, I was having to deal with that, having to deal with, the recent loss of my mom. I was just obviously, in my emotions. It was really rough. I was dying to get out of there. I was offered drug court, and I had heard nothing but horror stories about drug court. I was petrified. I was like, give me anything else. Give me, rehab for 2 years. Give me anything else but drug court. I am not doing drug court. Like, no. I heard that's a trap. I heard that's this, that's that. I'm not doing that. Give me anything else. And I was trying to work out something else, and it just wasn't working. And I just had to get out of jail. And I was like, you know what? Fine. Just give me the drug court. Just get me out of here. I will do whatever it is I have to do. And I was terrified. Not to sound corny, but it was the best thing that could have happened to me. And it's crazy. It's really, really crazy. So yeah, that structure was definitely, that type of structure was definitely what I needed. That accountability, that like all of it, they required the meetings, they required the sponsor, everything. So that was what I needed. Now it hasn't been easy by any means, because as Judge Martin mentioned, COVID struck. And so this meant that I had to adapt to this Zoom thing, right? And I had to find a sponsor through a phone, like I had to call. I wasn't able to go to meetings and listen to women speak. And, it was a completely different experience. But at this point, I had already made the decision that I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to give it my all. And, like, what do I have to lose at this point? I have nothing left to lose. I need to make this happen. And it was hard. I ended up getting a sponsor through the phone. I ended up starting my steps over the phone. I was doing these Zoom meetings that I was really uncomfortable in, and I was doing all these different things. And it was scary because, they were doing less drug tests, and there was triggers, and there was, fleeting thoughts. It was pretty scary. But I didn't know it was about to get scarier. My COVID ended up striking my home, and I got sick, and my dad also got sick. I was all right, but for my dad, it didn't go so well. He got pneumonia, and it was really, really scary. He had the same symptoms as my mom when she was sick. So I would have flashbacks, and all these fleeting thoughts would come back, and it was scary, and it was just not fun. And but instead of picking up, or instead of trying to go drink or get high, I started doing things that I wasn't doing before. I was getting on my knees to pray. I was reaching out. I was doubling up on meetings. I was journaling like no tomorrow. I was doing all these things. I was reaching out for support. I was begging, basically, for help through all of this. And I would cry, and I don't like crying, but I would cry. I would let my emotions out. I would do all these things that were suggested to me. And, I just knew that I had to do what it took to stay clean, to stay sober for when my dad got better. After 5 days on life support, my dad came out of that. And I'm so happy that because of all of this, because of the program, because of AA, because of the support from my family, because of the friends that I've made through drug court, through AA, because of the counselors, because of Judge Martin, because of everything, I was able to be there for my family and for my dad. I was able to be there for his recovery and help in ways that I wasn't able to help before. And it was just this. It was my sobriety working in my favor. So yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for God instilling the willingness and the determination in me, then I wouldn't have been able to rise and to become someone that I'm becoming slowly, the woman that I wanted to become. I've dealt with a lot. I've dealt with sickness. I've dealt with loss. I've dealt with triggers in the home. I've dealt with many things, and I've been able to overcome all of them. And every time I do, I always feel stronger. And it's a crazy feeling. I've been able to use all the tools that I've learned this past year, and it's amazing. I've been learning about myself, facing my demons through like inner work, through my step work, through therapy, through counseling, through the program. And I've been able to try and learn how to find the balance in my life and, you know, maintain my priorities. And it's all been a roller coaster of an experience, but it's been an amazing experience. And I'm so grateful and so happy that I was given this opportunity. And I'm just happy for all of it. And I think that's all I have. I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you all for hearing me and being here.
Yay!
Ms. Gonzalez, you did a great job. I know you put a lot of time and effort into that, and it's a privilege to hear the story. Of course, I don't tend to know any of that until you all move on and share that, but it helps me understand a lot more what exactly you've been up against. So we really thank you for that gift to our program. Ms. Gonzalez, let me just check in. We talked at your exit interview. Did you have somebody who was going to maybe say a few words? And if so, I just want to know who that was.
I was hoping maybe Yvonne would say a few words.
I was hoping so too. Ms. Rivera, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you for being here to celebrate with Ms. Gonzalez, and you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm super excited and grateful to be here. I wrote a few things down. I'll be quick, but I guess when I think of Jenny, I think of a lot of things come to mind, but words like optimistic, smart, thoughtful, humble, beautiful, both inside and out. And I can't imagine another way of her being. But I've been told that those attributes were a little dulled during her addiction. And I think of what a shame it would be, you know, for the world to lose someone so special. And all the women that she's helped, you know, never get a chance to meet her. You know, from the time that we met when she came into drug court, I felt a connection, you know, to her struggle and her pain, and I just wanted to be there and to help her. And you know, we began to get coffee, go to meetings, and you know, the gym, lose those pounds that we found in sobriety, and like she had always said, more importantly, to gain confidence and enjoy sober life. You know, she did the drug court events and appointments and dealt with issues about, you know, eating habits and old behaviors, guilt and shame. And of course, the pandemic, you know, was another struggle that she came through. You know, she kept an open mind for everything from spirituality to therapy and suggestions from those before us. And when, you know, push came to shove, she even took advice like dating advice and things that were not necessarily exciting, but pushing out of her comfort zone. She always looked for self-examination and find the advice that was in fact for her well-being. During this time, she mended the relationships with her family, and when her father became ill, was able to be there in a way that she never could before. Every anniversary and birthday, she has, you know, gone above and beyond for everybody I know. She's, you know, one of the most loving, and she's a mother of 6 kittens. She was a midwife during this time. It's just been so much. And she's a super strong woman, and she's earned this. And I know that her vigilance and her tenacity will keep her on this path. And I'm just super glad to call her my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Ms. Rivera, thank you so much. It's always awesome to see our alum, and we're all really pleased when you can come back and join and celebrate another one of the women from this program who's been on the journey with you. And Ms. Gonzalez, we look forward to you doing the same for one of these other ladies that's on the call. Just a quick note, Ms. Gonzalez, as you know, I typically do, just to remind you sort of where you stand. You're still in drug court, but you're finished with me. No more court appearances as long as everything's going fine, but you stay on with David Lawrence. You can take full advantage of anything and everything that you need from them, and you stay on probation. Eventually, you and David Lawrence will agree that you've completed what they can offer you, and you'll stay on just with regular probation. And then eventually you and your probation officer will agree that it's time, you've got everything done. Generally, that's about a year from now, that you've really just kind of got your routine settled and you're ready to take that final step down and ask me to end the probation. And when I do that, my review of your contract suggests you have withholds on your felonies, so you've avoided a felony conviction here. And as long as you stay on this path and finish that out and get to that termination point, you will continue to avoid having any felonies on your record. And that's over the course of 2 different felony cases. So it's a big, big deal. Is that your understanding? Is that consistent with what you were expecting?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Good. Well, the whole design, and it's been changed many times over my 10 years of doing this, but the whole reason behind the current design is to have each of those steps, each phase, each bit of progress be fairly gradual so that we don't shock the system, and really it makes it hopefully easier for you to change nothing. Change very, very little on each one of those steps, because as we've all enjoyed saying, you've done great with us. It's working. There's nothing broken that we're telling you to fix. So ignore all of that and continue doing tomorrow exactly what you did yesterday. And we're confident that you're going to continue to reach goals and help other women in recovery. We're just really proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, that'll conclude our moving on, and I'm going to address the rest of the docket. You're welcome to stick around. You're also welcome to drop off, but don't be a stranger.
Okay, thank you. It's good to see everybody.
Congratulations. Okay, let me call Ms. Colon, who's present here in the courtroom with me. Okay, Ms. Colon is present with Mr. Hollander. Good afternoon. Ms. Colon, I'm not sure exactly what's been communicated or not communicated, but I think Mr. Hollander, I'm sure it was, you were not expecting to be here, and actually neither was Ms. Colon. But Ms. Colon, I had some information this morning at staffing, and I wanted to get some further information from you. It had to do with where you ended up last night, that was not where you had told me you would be staying, and I might have inaccurate information. So tell me what's going on, if you will.
You were accurate. I told you last week when I let in that I was going to stay with my children's grandparents.
Yes.
Which I had every intention to do.
Okay.
But then when I spoke, when David Lawrence came, and then I thought everything would be in Zoom, honestly, and I lost my license for 6 months. I lived it all the way out in the States. So I had gotten scared to be out there and not be able to come into David Lawrence. So when I went to go check into probation and give them an address, I gave them the exes because it's right here. And I told Miss Nikki that I could go out there. I was afraid. My grandfather's 93 years old, and the girl's grandma is a registered nurse, and she goes, her shifts are different, so I wasn't able to know how I would get into town. So I was going to stay there and try. I talked to Miss Donna, the chaplain, yesterday about getting into St. Matt's for a sober house. But then I spoke to Nikki today regarding how if I go out to the grandma's, which I already called, and I have verification, let you speak to Miss Cindy.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm nervous.
It's okay.
That I can stay out there, and Miss Nikki will help me with transportation to come to town for David Lawrence or meetings and stuff until I can get my hardship license back in 6 months.
Okay.
Last night, okay, so I ended up at my ex's house, but he ended up using, and I didn't want to be, and he has my stuff, and I didn't know where it was, so I wanted, and my dog. My dog's my life, like that's.
Okay.
And so I went over there, and I was going to stay the night there, but then he went behind my back and bought fentanyl.
Okay.
And I didn't want to be near it, so I thought that if I called Miss Nikki and told her that I was going to get a hotel, I thought I didn't know I had to call both probation and Miss Nikki.
Okay.
But I called her, and I was there I had the receipt at 8-something at East Trail Motel across the way.
Okay.
For $85. My friend Sue came and got me and took me and my dog over there. for the night, and I talked to her and told her the situation. I didn't want to be near Jared. Miss Nikki.
Okay.
And then she called me this morning because she's like, she wasn't aware that I didn't call probation. So then I called my probation officer, Mr. James, and I called both of them, left both messages on his office and his work cell, but he didn't answer. So then I called Megan and left her a voicemail, and Miss Nikki told me to contact the main office, and I spoke to Robin.
Okay.
And Mr. James's supervisor, and
Right.
the situation, gave them the address. And then they told me to always verify and call and let the probation office know.
Okay. Yeah, your whereabouts, your curfew, those are all things the probation officer regulates, and case manager can help if you forget that. But yeah, we want to make sure. I think I even said to you, your probation officer needs to know exactly where you're staying each night, because you said something about once I get my own place, right? We had such a detailed conversation about your housing, and Mr. Hollander was sent out of the courtroom to verify, and it was such a thing that you can appreciate. I was pretty surprised this morning that you were staying with an ex, that you didn't do what you told me you were going to do. I'm still not entirely sure, other than the possibility of a transportation problem, because you had also told me, yes, I've talked to them, they know what they're getting themselves into, they're fully on board, they're supportive.
They are. I didn't realize I thought everything was going to be through the phone for now until I could get my license or figure out transportation.
Okay.
Except for the UAs, and I would have to bus schedule for that. That was the only thing. And then.
Okay. Well, none of that sounds like a reason to bail out and go stay with an ex on your first day out of jail. You see what I'm saying? And that was the concern, is that because he has your stuff. Okay, but none of that would mean that you would have to actually stay with him. And didn't the case manager actually get you from jail?
Yes, ma'am.
And she could take you to wherever you were staying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He picked you up from David Lawrence? Yeah.
I won't even lie. He had my dog, and I might, like, Mr. Hollander can talk about how Minion is one of the reasons why me and him got in a fight. Like, Minion's been the only stability besides my daughter.
Okay.
She's been with their grandma for like 5 years. And I know it's no excuse.
Okay.
But I wanted to see Minion.
Okay.
And I wanted to get my stuff to get, like, it's all in the car, in his car right now.
But your kids were at the...
Yes, out in the estate. And I contacted him, and Miss Cindy, I told him about the curfew. And so I don't know.
Okay.
They had to come into town to Laylee, Maddie, or Allie said, this is what she said, my daughter, that her and Grandma and Maddie we tried to meet up, but then they had to commit, my daughter was doing David Lawrence as well, and Danny, because they tried to commit suicide.
Okay.
A while back ago. And so Danny had to be in a meeting by Laylee, and then I didn't have service because I was, I don't know where I was. I think I was just driving, to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
And then when I connected to her, she said she was all the way in Burlington Coat Factory, and then they were heading home. And I said, well, and that was around 8 something. I said, I have a curfew, and I already told Miss Nikki that where I'm going to be at, so I will be there tomorrow. And
okay. Okay. Let me ask Ms. Farrell, I'm going to put you on the spot for a second, but I'm not entirely sure, Ms. Farrell, were you able to hear everything that Ms. Cologne's been sharing with the court?
No, Your Honor. Every once in a while it gets loud enough to hear, but for the most part, no.
And I apologize. I can give you video, but if I put the mic on that, maybe I can.
Well, Your Honor, my concern is that anything that she may use as an excuse why she wasn't there is inconsistent with what Ms. Dixon told us in staffing today, which is that she admitted to her that she purposely told Your Honor a mistruth to get out of jail.
That I'm sorry, Ms. Farrell, I missed part of that. The concern being that Ms. Colon was dishonest with the court about what?
That Ms. Colon admitted to Ms. Dixon that she had misled the court by telling her that she was staying somewhere she was not, because otherwise she didn't think she'd get out of custody. And I don't know if the audio is great, but the concern being whether I would have let you out of jail if I had known that your housing option was an ex-boyfriend. In other words, is what we call the bait and switch, Mr. Hollander. That was our concern.
No, I don't think that was, the boyfriend came as a second place. The objective was to get her out to grandma's house.
Right. But there was no reason that couldn't have been done. It was a concern that maybe you would have transportation problems. And really ultimately, and I don't knock it, but a desire to see your dog, which you could do, but still stay in a safe place. And that was the concern. I mean, appreciate it from our standpoint. The first thing you did when you got out of jail and got separated from David Lawrence Center was go hook up with an old acquaintance, which ended up being a bad scene. Now, I will say this so I don't lose the good in the bad. You did the right thing to speak up and say, I'm in a bad spot, I'm not safe, I have to leave where I am. That was smart. Staying with the boyfriend would have not been smart. But my concern is that, again, after a really detailed conversation about us making sure you had a good, clean, safe, reliable place to stay, your very first move was to move away from that and go to a bad location. And if I'd had a legal mechanism to do it, you'd have been in jail before lunch. You would have not been out 24 hours, but I had to wait and at least have you in court. But that was my statement at 10 a.m. staffing today is, why would I let someone out who gave me a whole song and dance about where she's headed and immediately hung a left turn and exited that highway? And that's what I'm still kind of struggling with here is you need to understand a lot more about how I operate. I got the longest fuse you've ever seen until someone's not truthful with me. And then I stop playing real fast. Go ahead, your turn.
Sorry. It's not that I wasn't being truthful. Honestly, I was overwhelmed yesterday. I did want to see what I didn't lie to you at the time. I mean, I have every intention of going out there. I wanted to see Minion. That's been my whole main goal. And if I could take Minion, I wanted to go to the abuse shelter, but I didn't get accepted for that for some reason. And
this guy would have been basically the basis on which you might have qualified for shelter services because he's not been a good guy.
And I could, you're right, I could have gone out there.
Yeah.
But I got overexcited seeing Minion and I didn't want to be without him.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I don't want, even though Miss Cindy and Granddad said it's okay for me to be out there, they're my sons.
I understand. They're not your blood.
Exactly, and they've done so much. My daughters aren't even their blood, but
Yeah.
their dad's not in the picture.
Yeah.
So they have so much on their plate, and even though I just don't want to overbear, and that's why I was trying to do the St. Matt's thing in the sober house. And then when they said if Miss Nikki and the master could just stay at his house for the night and then try to go to St. Matt's today, and that's what I've been doing, I said yes. But then I heard you were upset with me and everything, so I called and talked to Miss Cindy, and she's like, it's okay, it's only temporary, so I'm still trying to get into St. Matt's.
Okay.
So, but I didn't have intentions to be lying to you. I
Okay.
promise you that. And
Okay.
I'm going out there tonight with them, and you can call her and Granddad to verify it.
Well, what I'm considering at this point is this. I understand what you're telling me. I am concerned
and this is okay. I mean, it's a lot of folks when they're first out of jail and they're first trying to get clean are going to go through some different thought processes.
Overwhelming.
It's overwhelming, and I need you to understand that your thought process in that, while I know it makes sense to you, we're going to try to move you out of that thought process, because you're putting your priorities kind of out of whack. You're putting things ahead of your own best interest and your recovery. And I don't expect you to master that in one day, but I also need to be really consistent and really firm in the team's approach to what you need to do here. So what I'm prepared to do is this. I have an order that will remand you to custody. And what I'm proposing to do is to keep you for only as long as is necessary for us to verify and confirm. No, because I'm not going to go below one night. This was, I'm sorry about that. Believe me, there are all kinds of consequences, but we had a game plan. You had to know from my questioning that I was pretty concerned about it. And the decision to say, I'm going to just go over here because this is something I want to do, is something I just have to start to get you to think twice when those thoughts pop in. So what I'm prepared to do is this, and you're going to have the final say in this, but what I'm proposing to do is to remand you. I'm going to take the information from you and your lawyer before I put you through the door. The lawyer, or either you or your lawyer, can hand it off to the bailiff. I'll get it to the team. The team will make the required call and verify. If everything is set up appropriately, then I would let you back out tomorrow to pick up where you left off. But I need you to spend tonight thinking about what adjustments you want to make. Again, remember, the only thing I required you to take away from our discussion was honesty. And one way that I tell people when they're brand new to think about it is, if the judge were sitting here with me right now, would the judge be okay with this? Would I be okay with, I'm not staying with my in-laws, which I'll keep calling them your in-laws, I know they're not, but I'm not staying with my in-laws, I'm staying with my ex, you know, the one that was going to help me get into the women's shelter, right? That's an easy way to look at it, to say, I don't think Judge Martin would be real keen on sitting next to me right now. If you need to get your dog or your things, here's the smart way going forward. Somebody goes with you, okay? That may be something Nikki can do, or it may be something another trusted friend, the one who took you to the hotel, could do. But you got to start to adjust that thinking, because your old thinking is not going to be reliable for a little while. And that's exactly what the lesson is today. If we can confirm this, and you are telling me, Judge Martin, I won't change on you a second time, as long as you confirm it, I will go stay with my in-laws, then I will let you back out tomorrow and we'll pick up where we left off. If that's not confirmed and we have to make other arrangements, I'm going to hold you until I've got something reliable. And I think that was part of where the fear came from last Thursday, is we told Mr. Hollander, hey, if you don't have reliable housing, I'm not going to set you up to fail. I don't want you sleeping in the home of some guy who's doing drugs. So I wouldn't even take in your plea, right? And I know you don't want to spend another night in jail, but believe me, better one night now than 3 years if you don't really make it a good shot here. So I'll have you get the information to Mr. Hollander, and then that's what I'm proposing. Do you understand what I'm proposing? And this would be a sanction, so we don't do a violation, we don't get into all that. You'd stay on in good standing with us. Do you want to accept that? Then I'll sign the order. I'll let you, Mr. Hollander, get the information from her, and I'll hand it off to the case manager, and they'll do the verifying.
I'm not sure what information.
How to contact the in-laws to verify, in fact, that they are okay with her staying there and that she can be expected to start staying there as early as tomorrow night. No, we're going to contact them, but just get the number of Mr. Hollander so we can hand that off. Thank you, everybody else, for your patience. I know my time's getting a little bit short, but this is important. Set. I'm really not wanting you to send a super long text message to them. I just want the phone.
The phone number, because I've been doing it through Messenger.
Okay. See. Let me just ask, Ms. Dixon, do you have the information on how to contact the residence where Ms. Cologne was intending to be staying?
I have the address. I don't have the phone number.
Okay. But it is out in the estates, Ms. Dixon?
Does not look like up in the States.
Just give me,
14th Street Northeast.
yes, that's estates. Okay.
I can give you my daughter's phone number, and you can talk to her through there, I'm sure.
Okay.
It's 239.
239. Help me with this.
I'm so sorry.
What?
Still looking for the number for her daughter.
Um,
231. 831.
I didn't catch that.
We're still working on it. I'll repeat it for you, Nikki.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what's your daughter's name?
And then you, Jenny, is 200. This is the aunt that was out there as well. 5731.
Who is that, Jerry?
Jenny, the aunt.
From this-
That's the grandma.
We don't have a phone number for Miss Cindy.
Okay.
Okay, so what was the number, Mr. Holden?
For her daughter who's staying at the house with 239-231-8795.
Okay, and then a secondary, which is an aunt who lives nearby, 200.
239-200-5731.
Okay. We'll make sure then case managers will work on getting in touch with either or both, basically ultimately Ms. Cindy through either of those two avenues to try to confirm that she's ready, willing, and able to take you starting tomorrow. But I'm going to have you with us tonight, just let you do a mental reset. Hopefully we can confirm this and get restarted on a better foot. Okay. You got to be a lot more careful about who you're going to be around. And if we have to worry about getting this dog away from this guy, then you're probably going to want some help, and we'll help you deal with that. But don't go off on your own with somebody that's not good company. Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're going to take this, Mr. Hollander? Is that you taking the phone or?
No, she'll need it when she gets out.
Right.
So I guess they can take it into evidence.
Yeah,
Not evidence,
property.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ms. Cologne, I will, I'll see you next week, but David Lawrence will see you tomorrow. When you get out, go across and check into probation, and then you can go from there. Okay.
All right, let me turn next to Ms. Robles.
Hello?
Ms. Robles, you're with us audio only today, right?
Yes, Your Honor. I have not made it to turn my cell phone on, so I'm calling you from my mom's phone.
Okay, and for everybody else's benefit, Ms. Robles is just out this morning. This is not something that's normally okay with me, but I understand she's only been out for a couple hours. Ms. Robles, I just wanted to touch base quickly and make sure that you got out okay and that you're reconnected with probation and treatment now.
Absolutely, yes. Jason picked me up and we went straight across the street to probation, and then I was able to grab a quick bite to eat. I went and met up with James. I have all my paperwork to start IOP tomorrow, and start calling and hitting the ground running.
Very good, good. Well, I'm gonna keep it a little bit short today because of all the other stuff that's gone on, but I wanna welcome you back. I know they're excited to get you back at David Lawrence. I think IOP starts tomorrow, and we just move it forward from here, okay, Ms. Robles?
Absolutely, thank you, Your Honor.
Good, welcome back.
Thank you.
And let me turn next to Ms. Sisemski.
Hello.
Ms. Sisemski, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, very well.
Good, good. I thank all of you guys for your patience. I know the first lengthy part was all good stuff, but that second lengthy part probably was a little bit difficult. I don't know if y'all could hear all that. Anyway, tell me how you've been doing.
I've been doing good. Again, not much to report since last week. Just been working and meetings, and I'll be back with my sister this week for a day or two. She's out of the hospital, so
wonderful.
Just all good things.
I got a nice compliment. Treatment went out of the way today to say that you've been doing some really good work. Maybe finding another gear and really working hard with them. So that was nice to hear. I wanted to be sure to pass that along to you.
That's nice.
Good. Ms. Sisemski, I wanted also to note that we're going to phase you today to the 4th phase thanks to your incentive for volunteering. Congratulations.
Yay.
So what does that mean for you?
Honestly, nothing really too different. I know James and I had a session this morning. We've been really doubling down on trauma work, and I think that, you know, as my time is getting shorter in the program, it's we're just going to focus on how I can get the most out of the time that I have left here, and that's honestly all that's going to change.
Okay.
Because everything else it's all just going to continue to be what I am. So
I think that's a great game plan, and I'm grateful. Again, part of the reason we reworked the handbook the way we did was to free treatment up to continue going full speed here in the 4th phase and even beyond that if need be. So you don't have any time pressure. You can still move on and continue on with James and Brooke, just like we talked to Ms. Gonzalez about. So you're very much on track with us, and I like the game plan of saying, you know, it's time to really dig deep and get everything you can out of the treatment opportunity that you have here.
Yeah.
Good. The other thing that I will suggest, I do anytime someone moves into this position, is to just be thoughtful about your recovery routine and what the things are that make up a good week for you in recovery. If there are meetings or sponsor contacts or things that really help support you in a good week and keep a good frame of mind, that's what you want to be paying attention to, because fairly soon, I think it goes pretty fast from here, fairly soon you'll take another step and you'll be setting up the routine. We won't be dictating that. If you've built something that works for you, you're going to just carry on and not even notice the transition. That's the goal, okay?
Yeah.
Good. Anything else that you wanted to address?
No, everything's going really well.
Good. Well, congratulations. You're phase 3 this time, but next time I talk to you, you'll be phase 4. So you'll be, I'll call you first, and then you'll be allowed to drop off the call from there if you'd like to. So congratulations on the privilege. Well done. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Let me touch base next with Ms. Ramsey.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Hey, Ms. Ramsey, how are you doing?
I'm good. Nothing to report. You know, working, doing my meetings, my groups. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather the last few days. I think I might have a tooth infection, or I don't know. At first I thought maybe a brain tumor. The whole side of my head is like, it got shot off, but it now sort of localizing into my jaw. So I think, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go to the dentist.
Maybe teeth or sinus, like that.
Yeah, I took some sinus stuff that my mom gave me yesterday, and actually it helped. So I'm hoping that that means it's not the tooth.
Yeah, well, definitely check it out, because any pain in your head is something, one, you don't want to live with, but two, you don't want to ignore that either. So definitely stay on top of it. Any other problems? Anything that's been difficult now that you're in a new phase as of last time? How's that been?
Great. I mean, nothing different. I'm pretty much doing the same stuff. I mean, you know, I don't really have a raging nightlife, so the curfew doesn't really matter that much to me.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I mean, I'm good. Everything's good.
Good. What did you think? Was there anything in particular, not to be too private, but anything that was going through your mind as you were listening to Ms. Gonzalez share her story? Anything that really felt like a connection for you?
Well, I really admire how, listening to all of the stuff that she had been through over the past few years, like between her mom and then the scare of her dad, on top of having an addiction. Like, I've thought sometimes, like, what if I found out that like something was wrong, bad with my daughter, or I was terminal or something? Like, what would I do? Like, and the first thing that sometimes comes to my mind is, would I be allowed to drink that over that? And then I'm like, wait a second, like, how would I want to miss and not be involved in the moments that I'm needed, or, you know, want to cherish and remember. And so that was a good, it was good to hear that she, you know, was strong enough to, you know, with the help of everybody else, to get through those things.
Yeah, I think that's some really, really good insight. I'm always, I'm just always really grateful when you all get to listen into each other, and hopefully, you know, that little bit of wisdom and experience and so forth just it makes things a little bit simpler for you. And I know you do the same thing for others when you share your story. So I'm happy to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that you wanted to address this week, Ms. Ramsey?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And Ms. Lewis, I'll turn to you next.
Hi, Judge.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was at the warehouse today. I did waiver work to pay rent for St. Matthew's.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And everything's still going okay with all of that?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm up to date with my program fees. I don't owe them anything.
Good.
And, last night I chaired my first meeting. I chaired at TLC.
Okay.
At the 8:30 meeting.
How'd it go?
It was good. It was good. I didn't really, I mean, you read from like a script type thing, you know, so I just kind of read from the script, and, you know, I wasn't sure when to start closing the meeting at exactly, you know, 9:30 or a little 5 minutes before, or however. I did have a couple questions, but everybody was really nice and helped me out, so.
Wonderful. Well, everybody in there, all the ones who've done it before, they all had to have a first time they did it too. So I'm sure they could identify with your stress, and I'm sure they were right there to help with that. That's great.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time.
Good. Good. Well, I'm a big proponent of those service commitments, because it keeps you showing up. It keeps you connected. It helps you help others. And it's a huge piece of the puzzle in terms of trying to get clean and stay clean.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Ms. Lewis, I wanted to share with you, you were one of the folks who opted into the new handbook.
Yes.
And with the use of your incentive, I'm prepared to phase you today. It was the old phase 3. Under the new handbook, it's phase 4, but we're moving you ahead to the next phase. Congratulations.
Okay, yay.
Did that make sense? We used to call this phase 3 in the new handbook. This period of time is actually called phase 4 because we split the first phase into 2 pieces. Do you follow me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, not at all. Not for a second, but that's okay.
You're in the position that you wanted to be. It isn't any different. It just is a different word, really, that we're using to describe this portion. So you're in the second 6 months, finished 6 months, and you're in the second 6 months of our drug court program.
Okay.
And that was accelerated by the fact that you worked with us, did some volunteer work, and earned the incentive. And so the team factored that in and said, Judge, with the incentive, we can go ahead and move her ahead today. So congratulations on that.
Okay, thank you. So does that mean I don't have a curfew anymore?
That's correct. I've got an order here that I've signed that will lift that curfew. So you still have whatever curfew St. Matt's has.
Yes.
And I certainly want to encourage you, as I do everybody, to be very smart, very careful about that. Generally speaking, there's not a whole lot that should have you out past 10, especially now that you've got a day job. But you can do that. For example, I know there's a decent meeting that's late and things like that. Just be smart about what you're doing and who you're with, okay?
Yeah, because when I chair the meetings, I like to kind of hang out and mingle a little bit. The meeting's over at 9:30.
Okay.
And then, I always walk there, and then I usually ran back to St. Matt's, and they're like, St. Matt's is telling me, they're like, Nikki, you can call, you have friends here, you're doing what you're supposed to do, so you can call and be here at 10:05 or 10:10, so I don't have, because I would be sweating and I would literally run back, and they're like, you don't have to. I'm like, well, for probation, I still had to. But now that I don't have, the curfew for probation, I can I wouldn't be home any later than 10:15, so it's not like it'd be a big difference, but now I don't have to stress or push, but that it wouldn't, like I said, wouldn't be no later than 10:10, 10:15, so.
Wonderful. Well, and I think that's good. We've got a clerk on the way finally. I just checked. I think that's smart, and that's a good way. Like I said, as long as you're being thoughtful about what keeps you out late, I really push hard that it be something that's either recovery focused or otherwise, as I just was saying to Ms. Colon earlier, something that Judge Martin's likely to approve of. So it'll be nice for you not to have to rush home, just like Ms. Ramsey a few weeks ago was finally able to, help out her family that lives in a different house. You can make things up without doing anything that's necessarily risky. The only other thing I needed to address with you, you got your restitution paid, but I think there may have been like a fee or something, because probation shows $2.31 that's still owed on that restitution. So I just want to give you a deadline of next Tuesday for you to get with your probation officer and figure it out. And if there is a small balance, just make sure that you get that paid off.
Okay. I paid it through JPay. I'll talk to Alex about it.
It might just be that there was a fee or something that ate into your payment and then made your payment short. That sometimes happens, but.
Okay, that could be.
I just want to, the state attorney was fine with us phasing you, but said, let's have a deadline that by this time next week, or even better, by the end of this week, that you get the probation officer, just get that squared up, okay?
Yeah, I can.
Very good. All right, well, keep up the good work and congratulations. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then next, let me check in with Ms. Sweeney. Yes, all set, Chuck. Thank you.
Good.
How are you doing, Miss Sweeney?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Oh, there you go. There you are.
I finally, the clerk.
I'm doing very well. I'm getting settled in here at the sober house, and I'm getting acclimated to being back at work. I'm getting into my meetings. I'm meeting with my sponsor this week to do the third step, and just trying to get back at it running.
Okay.
You know.
Excellent. Excellent. Anything that you wanted to address? I'm sorry for being a little bit short on time, but anything that you wanted to be sure?
No, I'm good. I'm just excited to be able to do the IOP groups in person now. I think I'm really excited about that because I really in Crossroads I really got into the in-person groups and how that different dynamic works, and so I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, we are too. I had a nice chat with the team in staffing this morning, and I think you guys are going to have a nice group of women together. And you know, I just encourage you to give it your all. You're each of you in there, in one way or another, is really working on a second chance, a second opportunity. And so I think that's great motivation to just make sure that you give it a solid effort and avoid any distractions.
Yeah.
Good. All right, well, good luck with that, Ms. Sweeney, and we'll talk more next time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then Ms. LaBeouf, I thank you for your patience as well. Ms. LaBeouf, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you, Judge Martin?
Good. Tell me what's been going on.
Pretty much just working and recovery.
Okay. And how's everything fitting together as a schedule? Are you doing better?
It's getting a lot better now that I have like adjusted more into, you know, the program, and with my time management, it's still a little tricky sometimes, but most days I'm able to get to where I need to be.
Okay.
And my brother's ex-wife actually helps me a lot.
Okay.
And that's not a relationship that I had like through active addiction.
Sure.
You know, and since I've gotten sober, like it's really blossomed. They're not together anymore.
Okay.
But we've grown this like beautiful relationship, you know, that without my recovery would have never have happened.
Talk to me about what you're doing in the name of time management. What are the things you're doing to try to make sure that you meet all your obligations and you show up on time for each of them?
So I have my planner, of course, that was in my essay. So I've been keeping up with my planner. I randomly text my sponsor if I remember like I need to do something at a certain time. And then she knows that's why like I'll send her random messages about like, hey, do this at a certain time, because she'll like send it back to me to remind me, which is really awesome. So she helps me sometimes, like when I'm like frazzled a little bit, she's like, you know what, just text me. I'll text it to you in the morning, so you'll, you know what I mean, remember. Because we talk late at night, because usually during the weekends, like Thursday through Sunday, I don't get off until late.
Right.
You know, so she helps me with that. And then pretty much everything's just routine now.
Okay.
Like Tuesdays, they're typically my easiest day, because like I've said before, all I have to do is get to Horseshoe. You know, I have court that I do from the visitation center. I'm in the visitation center now waiting for my children. And then it's usually David Lawrence right before or right after.
Okay. Sending a message to the guys in the waiting room. And so what I wanted to say, Ms. LaBeouf, I'm glad to hear that that you feel like you're improving, that you're taking some steps and you're sticking with what you told me in your essay you were going to do. You know, with us, you hear the phrase progress, not perfection, and we mean that. We want to see the progress. I know there may be setbacks here and there, What I'm most concerned with is that you don't keep making the same mistake over and over, and that if you do make a mistake and you say, I'm going to correct that, that you stick with what you say you're going to do. It sounds like you feel pretty good about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, good. Anything else, any problems or things that you wanted to address or that we can clarify?
No, I know that last week I missed the court because I did join originally. I had to make an emergency, go to David Lawrence because of my medication.
That's fine. This one plays got my permission, and I don't need to know anything about it. If you had his permission, I trust that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So the team is a team, and that means that we'll operate that way, and that means you also don't want to be going to one person and ask something, and if they don't give you the right answer, go to someone else. That we don't like. But Jason was on top of that, and I was fine to let him handle that with you. So.
Yes, and I'm so thankful for all of them because they really, really, really helped me.
Yeah. Well, they're really a fantastic group. So I'm glad things are going better for you and getting a little easier. And I just encourage you to keep, each day before you go to bed, look that schedule over, get your head ready. Okay, this is what's going to go on tomorrow. Look at it again first thing. Okay. This is what I'm going to have to manage. And you just kind of, continually look at that. If you write it all up on Sunday and then don't look at it all week, it won't be very helpful, right?
Very true.
So keep pushing yourself to tighten up more and more. Ultimately, your ability to manage this consistently is going to be a big part, not just of succeeding with this court, but with your other court as well. So we want to just see you continue to push yourself to improve on that and keep it going in the right direction.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Well, I'm a few minutes behind schedule, so I should switch to the gentleman, but thank you, ladies. Good to have you all with us. Keep up the good work, everybody.
Thank you, Judge Martin.
That'll conclude the ladies' session. I'm going to let the gentleman in. Okay, we'll give it just a second. Everybody's getting connected here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
All right, and Mr. Ferreira, I'm going to just mute your microphone until I call on you. Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Drug Court. Sorry for being a few minutes late. We had a young lady moving on, and then I had another person that I had to deal with a sanction. So it made for a bit of a full docket with the ladies' session. Did it work, by the way? Did y'all get a little message that said, I'll be right with you? Okay, good. Every day I learn something new on Zoom, so I'm glad my experiment worked. Okay, so with that, let me start with Mr. Barfield.
Hey, how are you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay, Mr. Barfield. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just been doing the same thing. I'm always trying to tell you what I've been doing, but really it hasn't changed much from last time. And
okay.
In our MRT group that we're doing, I'm doing this exercise where we break down our weeks into hours and what we do. And doing that exercise, I found out that I've got it pretty much all accounted for. And
right.
So I don't really want to mess with that. I want to keep it like it is because it's working for me and it seems to be working. So
yeah,
I
think that's great. There's old timers, probably you've had the privilege of meeting them, but they tend to be creatures of habit. They find a routine that they like, man, and they just dial that in, right? I know Mr. Wally likes that, but it's working for you, right? So there may be some minor adjustments,
right,
as you go on through life, but at least just coming to understand how powerful it is to have a healthy routine, that'll help ensure that you work to protect that.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. And so is there some time in there, Mr. Barfield, for downtime, for recharge?
Oh yeah, that's part of it. I've got a few hours in there where it's just doing nothing.
Okay.
Like an hour a day where I'm not around nobody. I don't watch TV. I don't do anything but kind of reflect on the day and just everything that's going on, you know.
All right. Well, we've got a few newer guys on the call, and they may be surprised to hear the judge asking somebody about making sure that they make time for fun and make time to unwind. That's not usually the kind of thing judges are pushing people to do. But why do I push that, Mr. Barfield?
Well, it's you got to have time for yourself and time for entertainment. Otherwise, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Because it's the best way I could explain it.
You'll burn yourself out.
Yeah, and with everything you have to do for drug court, I mean, especially at the first, it's very hectic and very just stressful. So always make time for yourself, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And it does get easier when you get into the back half of the program where you are.
For sure.
But I think all the work that you did in the front half of our program helped you really appreciate the value of making that space for yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
So anything that's been particularly challenging now that you are in a later phase and you don't have us, running you all over the place anymore?
Not really. It's just learning to get my old life, not my old life, but regular life back, and to do things, the right way, and just, getting back in the routine of like checking your bank account and taking care of your responsibilities, things like that.
That bank account's a big deal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is to me, because I hadn't had one in so long. So I'm quite proud of that.
And you told me you've got a second one where you can set some stuff aside. So if heaven forbid the car breaks down or something goes wrong, you can cover it without a lot of stress. And maybe if you build that up enough, eventually you can even maybe take a few days off here and there. It'd be really nice.
It'll be a little while, but eventually, yes.
It's a longer term goal, but that's something that's nice to be able to look forward to.
For sure.
Good. Well, Mr. Barfield, one last question for you. Are you in your routine now? Is there any room for anything that might constitute service to others? Anything you've been able to do where you're able to help somebody else in recovery?
That's something that I probably need to start working on. I haven't done that yet. I've just got to the point where I probably would be able to do something like that, where I've got myself, but that's something definitely I am willing to think about it and try, when I get the proper avenues to do that.
Sure. Well, I float the idea out there as something that maybe could become a shorter term goal for you. And I'm not looking for anything, that's going to set a new world record. Just simple stuff like if you are doing any in-person meetings, maybe you're greeting or maybe you're making coffee, and you can start small. But I want to encourage you, because you are in the back half of the program, and you are starting to gain a little more control over your time, to look for opportunities to maybe fit some of that in and see where it fits for you.
Sounds good.
Good. All right. Anything else that you wanted to address?
No, ma'am. Everything right now is going good.
Okay. All right. Well, keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Mr. Spadarico, let me talk to you next. I think I had you last time.
Hi, Your Honor.
How are you doing, Mr. Spadarico?
Very good. And yourself?
Doing okay. Tell me what you've been working on this week.
Well, I've been, how I like to research certain items. The newfound goal is sobriety, and I think so much is taking it seriously. I think these are things that I need to adjust myself on, because I kind of keep on turning back, and so I'm making small goals and conquering them, for my new goal, and that's to stay sober. And obviously, I've been fighting with myself, and I'm tired of fighting with myself.
Okay.
I'm ready to go with the flow, and I want to believe in myself. Is pretty much where I'm at.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. How do you feel about that?
I mean, other than that, I don't know. I've been working, doing everything I'm supposed to, and I enjoy it. I really do. You know, it doesn't make me mad that I have to pee every day. It doesn't make me mad. I do things. I knew the consequences for my actions, and I'm dealing with them.
Okay.
You know, for the most part, I know it was my fault. I did it to myself, and I'm moving on.
Yeah. Well, definitely move on. There's no need to kick yourself, but I want to just probe a little bit on the goal. Is there somebody, either a sponsor, case manager, or somebody that you tend to talk to every single day?
I do talk to. I have a sponsor. Okay. However, I do not talk to him every day. I don't really have anybody that I talk to every day on an everyday basis, other than maybe the ladies at the front desk of the Horseshoe building. Say, hey, how you doing? I'm here. They know why, and they give me my sheet.
I make up reasons to go over there because they're so nice.
They are. You know, I talk to Lupe, and they believe in me, and they want to see us do good. You know, and I really believe. You know, they were. You know, they might not have told me, but they knew I relapsed prior to me getting in trouble, and I could see it in their faces. You know, and it's like disappointment that they want to see us do good. They really do, and
they're your court's secret weapon. I tell you what. So I want to make a suggestion to you. Maybe it's two suggestions. One, you probably should be talking to your sponsor every day. If this sponsor is a good fit, particularly in the space that you're in right now, you should be talking to that sponsor every day. So I'm going to suggest a goal. It's not a court order, but I'm going to suggest that your goal shift slightly from staying sober to being honest. Because I'm going to keep banging this drum. You didn't go to jail because you relapsed. You went to jail because you didn't tell us about it. And if you're going to reach your goal of staying sober, it's going to be because you figure out how to be honest. So the slight tweak that I want to suggest is that you make it a daily practice to be honest with someone. And some days it's going to be easy, but some days there's going to be something that you really don't want to share. But I'm going to say, push yourself. Pick up the phone. Sponsor's a great person to do it. If you have the right sponsor, if you've got a good fit, pick up the phone and say, you know what, something's bugging me. I just got to get it off my chest. I need to let you know such and such. And you're going to make a daily practice of being honest. And I'm pretty confident that from that, your goal of making a daily practice of staying sober is going to be wrapped all up in that. But I think you've worked extremely hard at staying sober, but we haven't put that honesty piece in. And so I just want to suggest that as another layer or another aspect of the goal that you just articulated. What do you think?
I agree. You know, honesty it's hard for me to confide in somebody. And it's been this in my life. It didn't happen yesterday. It didn't happen a year ago. This has been ongoing. And I should, and it can only better if that's a flaw, it needs to be fixed. And that's absolutely true. And if I can confide in him and put trust in him to tell him everything, that would be good to lift it off my shoulders. Absolutely.
Yeah. So and I would say this, you know, I would start with just making it a habit to talk to your sponsor every day and think about what is something that I can share with this sponsor today. What do I need to talk about today? And it's just, it could be relatively short, but I think either in person or picking up the phone. I don't love text messages and stuff. Either talk by phone or talk in person. But work to establish a daily contact, and that in that is going to be, you know, something that you just need to tell another person, because that's how you're holding yourself accountable. And I think you're going to start to see that, coupled with all of the other efforts that you're making to research and discipline yourself. I think you're going to see some really good things happen.
Well, thank you, Judge. I appreciate it.
It's your goal, not mine, but that's just a strong suggestion because, of course, you know, I have been banging on the honesty drum quite a bit. You have done so many things so well with us. In fact, you've done a lot of things better than 90% of the people I've worked with. But that last little bit, which is the honesty bit, has been what's been causing you so much heartache. So I'm like the coach on the sidelines, and I just want to suggest that that's something to try to fold into your routine.
Okay, I will.
All right, I will. I'm gonna follow up with you and see how you're doing. Most of all,
I know you will.
With making, you know, I gotta have something to talk about. But I want to see if you can get that daily habit. And if it turns out, hey, I just don't have that feeling with this sponsor, maybe you've got to look for a different sponsor. But give it a shot. You won't know until you start to actually talk to this guy a bit more.
All right, you're right too, because you know you get a feel for the people and where they're at. And right now it's a Cocaine's Anonymous guy, but I might switch back to the AA. For some reason, AA seems not more stern, but it just I don't want to cut down any of the things. Just that's my, I think AA sometimes is better all around.
Okay. Well, and it's really a personal choice, and you're right. Each fellowship is perfect in its own different way. It's really just about what's the better fit for you, what is providing what you need at this stage of the game, and your needs will change over the years in your sobriety. But right now, somebody who's really up for a daily communication that from time to time might, have a little bit of intensity. You need a sponsor with some energy for this, and you deserve that. So make sure that you've got somebody in position for that, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Mr. Spadarico, I'm so happy to have you back, and now there's been a handful of weeks where you're really, I think, picking up steam. So I'm going to keep pushing you, but I think you're doing some really good work. Keep it up.
All right, you too, Anna. Thank you.
All right, let me touch base next with Mr. Mullen.
Hi, Your Honor.
How you doing, Mr. Mullen?
I'm doing really well.
Tell me what's been going on this past week.
This past week, well, I've been working on getting the hardship license.
Okay.
And let's see. Finally, I had to get some documents together. I sent them an email. It took a long time to email back. Okay. Those wheels turn slowly. Yes. To build on the old bicycle analogy from last week. But yeah, they're so they finally got back. I had to get them some documents, one from the court and everything. That was super fast from you guys, so thank you. And then they call. I made a call and I made a payment today. So within 7 to 10 or 3 to 10 business days, they'll call me and do the hearing.
Okay.
And then they'll decide at that point whether they give the hardship, which is good. So that's going well. It took a whole lot of steps to get here, like a month,
Yep, I know. And it's pretty frustrating, but I commend you for hanging in there. You made a lot of progress this past week, so that's great.
And then, my daughter, when I had a year sober before I relapsed, and we were able to, at that point, we were able to get my daughter into Royal Palm Academy, which is a private Catholic school in town. And we got a big scholarship that they gave us because she's a good student and everything. So we had to do the re-enrollment for her for 8th grade, her final year there, because they only go to 8th grade.
Okay.
At that school. And so I had to get some documents, some financial stuff, and make some payments there. And I had to coordinate the whole thing with my ex-wife, which is my daughter's mom. And part of my goal was to get closer to both of them, but mainly the focus was on my daughter. Sure. Because I hadn't seen her in like a year. So anyway, we've been talking back and forth, me and her mother, and we've had a lot of good talks and everything. So she, needed some money today to make this final payment on the fax website for the enrollment thing or whatever. And so I got her that, and basically, so I've just been taking care of responsibilities as a father and just as a sober human being on planet Earth.
That's a good.
You know, doing esteemable acts is how you build self-esteem, I've heard, and so I'm just doing those little things, and just trying to not, you know, put the results on them. If like the old me, and if I didn't have things in place, like my girlfriend was been able to drive me to the UAs in the morning and stuff. If I didn't have certain things in place and people and relationships that were giving me a chance, then I really would have been chomping at the bit. But everything's been just great, and I've been able to not get crazy and ahead of myself or frustrated, and just take it one day at a time. So
good.
Those are the things I've been working on. And then I also I got a number from a guy I went to the Saturday night meeting at the 24-hour club and got his name and number as a possible sponsor. Okay. And because James gave me he told me that as a assignment to build my support network, he said, go to this guy, get his number, and then get 2 other numbers. So I've done that, and I'm trying to build my support network. So those are the things. Now, the bad part is I haven't called anybody yet, but after listening to you and the last fella, Mr. Spadarico, I'm going to call him right when we get done.
There you go. There you go. It's, you know, it really just have to push yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit. And I applaud James. That's great. I love homework, man. That is, it's, you know, and the feedback we get from you guys is, it's good. You've given me something I can do to try to help myself. And yeah, it can be a little awkward or uncomfortable to push through and reach out to a guy you don't know, but the payoff is going to be there, and you start to build that trust that this will be something worth doing. So that's great. Mr. Mullen, I'm happy to let you know you're with us under the new handbook, which reorganized the phases. So the guys who've been with us longer won't understand this, but you have completed the first phase of the new handbook, and I'm pleased to move you to phase 2 today. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you so much. I don't know what changes, but I'm happy. I made it somewhere.
You know what? The idea is to just give you some more feedback sooner. When I started with drug court, phase 1 was 6 months. 6 months. So we've reworked it and reworked it and reworked it. But I'm really excited about the new structure, because for guys like you, look, those first 30 days are the hardest 30 days you're probably going to have with us. And we thought it appropriate to kind of give you a sign, give you a mile marker to say, hey, you passed a milestone here, and you got something significant already behind you. Keep moving forward. Some good feedback.
Great. Well, thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. One last question I had for you. You were trying to see if you could find employment nearby. Have you had any luck with anything yet?
Not yet. I've gone up to this area that's close to me, and I've applied at the hardware store. I've also the Subway there. Okay. And then Courtney, actually in drug court here, gave me a contact he knows at Valvoline. So okay. I've called them as well. So I'm working on it.
All right. Well, and I'll push you to keep pursuing leads until you've got something, confirmed in hand. Because you really, I know it's going to add stress, and you've got a daughter that's got expenses and so forth. The sooner you can start to stabilize in a work schedule and depend on some income, it'll just take that anxiety down. So keep looking until you for sure have something, okay?
I will, Your Honor.
Good, good. Anything else you wanted to address today?
No, that seems to be all. Just doing well and doing my meditations. I'm getting to several meetings a week that are outside. My church, I go to Grow Church, which is in town here, and they have a home groups, and there's this one called Freedom. Okay. And it meets tonight as our first night. So it'll be people, that are trying to break free of smoking or like codependency, I'll come in there and drop the bomb on them, But it'll be great. I'll meet some new people, good people.
Good. Good. Well, and everybody's journey is different. You probably have more in common overall, but I think that's nice. I think that sounds pretty consistent with Jane's goal, right? Of growing your network and pushing a little outside your comfort zone and exploring some things. So especially when you're brand new with us, I think those sorts of things are wonderful. And I'm glad to hear you're doing that.
Yeah, I need to meet some good people, you know, people that don't use drugs. So there'll be some there.
Good. Well, keep up the good work and congratulations on getting the first phase complete. Keep moving it forward.
Thank you very much.
How about Mr. Briand? Let me check in with you next, Mr. Briand.
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
What are you working on?
Same things, just staying sober, doing my meetings, just keep switching up my meetings and stuff, just trying to keep the variety going. Nothing really new. Work's been kind of slow lately, so, you know, I mean, all because of the rise in cost of the material and parts and things like that. And they did some new code changes that really kind of put a hinder on us on work. Okay. So, you know, it's making it kind of complicated to get material and stuff that we need for the jobs that we've got going on. So I mean, we're backed up with work, but it's just you know, an issue with getting material and stuff from China, because a lot of our stuff is, you know, made over there. So you know, it's kind of frustrating, but other than that, everything else is good. Family home life is great. Wife and kids are great. I do a lot of home cooking with the wife, and so everything's doing good. Trying to help my daughter research, trying to buy a car and things like that. So, you know, so I mean, everything's going good. You know, passing all my drug tests. I got got to make some payments to David Lawrence in probation. But like I said, work's kind of been slow, so you know, I haven't really been meeting my what I want for work-wise, you know, money-wise. So, but things will come. You know, this too shall pass. So I'll just keep on moving forward. No issues, no triggers or nothing. Everything's just, you know, going okay. I mean, I can't complain. I'm happy.
Yeah.
So.
But that's a really nice thing to be able to say, and you've worked extremely hard to put yourself in the position. So it's nice to be able to kind of take that inventory and look around and look at all the various things for which you can be grateful. You've got something that's not going perfectly smooth over here with work, but on all of this other stuff, it's going fantastic, and that can kind of just keep your head in balance, right?
Yep, it is. That's, well, you know, the good things outweigh the negative.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? If you know how to look at things, they always will.
Yep, you're right about that.
And so that's a skill that you're kind of that you're working on mastering right now. Is okay. Well, how do I look at things? How do I change my mindset if I start to find myself, you know, grinding on something negative? And I think you're starting to really pick up speed with that.
Yes, thank you.
Anything that we can help you with? Anything you need from us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, everything, like I said, everything's good. I mean, other than, you know, I got some issues with my arm still, but other than that, you know, I had some injections, some Detro B12 shots done on my arm. So other than that, you know, I mean, I'm doing good.
Good.
Yep.
Well, keep up the good work and ask for help if you need it, Mr. Briand. Great job.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Let me switch over to you, Mr. Leyva. How are you doing?
How you doing, Your Honor?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
What have you been working on this week?
I've been working on my license to get my driving license back, and getting the meetings done. That's pretty much it. Staying focused.
Okay. How's everything going in terms of how are you doing with your time management and staying on top of all the different things we have you doing?
It's been kind of frustrating, but I'm just trying to get it right.
Okay. Have we gave you a planner, right, to keep track of things?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you using it? Are you putting everything in there?
Yes, I also put it on my phone too.
Okay. And so has that helped you to just kind of know each day what you've got to do and how long you've got between this thing and that thing to get it all done?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. And you had started a new job not too long ago. Now that you've got work as well, how's the schedule fitting together for you?
I started working, but I kind of got behind on the meetings, so I had to get back to close my schedule, and I'm not gonna work on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Okay. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'll be working.
Okay.
And the rest of the days I'll take it for full days to do the meetings, so I have a balance.
Okay, but now are you doing a whole bunch of meetings one day and then no meetings on a different day?
Kinda. I'm doing one meeting for sure. I'm doing one meeting a day, but okay. On the other days I'm doing 2-3 meetings a day.
Okay, all right. It's certainly fine to do more than one, but I definitely want to try to make sure that if treatment's telling you to do meetings, that you are hitting one each day, if that's what they're asking you to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Because every now and then I have somebody who just is super busy and they say, I'm just going to take Sunday and I'm going to go to 7 meetings and then I'll take the rest of the week off. And it doesn't work that way.
No, I'm not doing it like that.
Okay, good. I'm glad. And so it sounds like it has been a little bit challenging though, now that you've got work, to try to make treatment and work and meetings and family and everything fit on the schedule, right?
Yes, definitely. It's been kind of hard, but it's not how do you say it? It's not impossible. Yeah.
Well, and what I would suggest you do, and maybe you've already done this, but maybe sit down with your case manager at some point, set a time to sit down together and just look at that schedule. Just spread it all out and look at it and see, where's something that you can maybe adjust a little bit or move a little bit. Because you heard me talking to Mr. Barfield, when you can finally put together a schedule that really works, that doesn't have you racing around and feeling super stressed, but gives you enough time to really do your best at each of the things that you've got lined up that day. That's the goal. We don't expect you to do that overnight, but that's the goal. So let us help you if there's a schedule that's still kind of jammed up and a little too crazy sometimes. Maybe talk to your case manager and let them look over your shoulder and see if there's any way that something can be adjusted just to make it a little smoother for you, so it's not so stressful.
I definitely will do that.
Okay, that's part of what we can try to do to help. And I haven't been told that you've missed anything. The report I got is that you're meeting your obligations, so that's great. But if you're feeling like you're stretched out a little bit, then talk to case management and see if there's any ideas they might have that'll help. And sometimes it's just, getting through the first phase or two, and then, drug court gets a little bit less intense, and you might find, I think that's part of what's going on for Mr. Barfield, is it's not really fair to compare the two of you because he's in a later phase and has a little bit less on his plate from us. But let case management help with that, okay?
Thank you, Yona.
Good. But you're doing okay at work, and you feel like that's a good place for you to be working?
Oh yeah, definitely. I love my work.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, I can see where that would be a nice environment if if you're on top of things and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the name of the game, Mr. Leyva, like I said, I was talking to Mr. Barfield, who's one of our folks who's been in the program longer, at least on this call. But the goal is to get to where it all fits pretty well and you can manage it without being, stressed or worried or exhausted. And so I guess saying that another way, the goal is balance.
Yeah.
The goal is having your recovery has to be your top priority. But then there's family and there's work and there's you. As I was also talking to Mr. Barfield, there's time for you. And we don't expect you to have it overnight, but we'll work with you to try to slowly put together a routine that has some balance to it. And everybody's routine is different. Some guys aren't happy unless they've got 50 hours of work. Some guys aren't happy unless they can fish every single day. Everybody's got different goals, but as long as you're putting together something that meets your recovery needs and gets your bills paid, after that, it's really all just up to your personal desire, and we'll try to help with that, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Yona.
Anything else going on? Anything else that's been stressful or a little frustrating about these first few weeks that you're doing here?
No, not really. Just a couple of things, but just minor things.
Okay. And I know last week you scared me a little bit because you had some family members that have been in a car accident. Is everybody okay?
Oh yeah, my mom. Yeah, they're doing all right. Just my mom. She's just kind of being hurt.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot going on in your world, and that's pretty normal, but please make sure that you're speaking up and you're letting us know if there's something that's got you feeling overwhelmed, or maybe something that we can be helping you with, because we're, while you're with us, unfortunately, there's going to be some great days, and there's also going to be some challenging stuff, more than likely, that life's going to throw at you. Let us help. Let us know what's going on, okay?
I will.
Okay. All right, Mr. Leyva, keep up the good work. Great job.
Thank you, Yona.
Let me turn to Mr. DePasquale next. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing good, Your Honor. How are you?
Good. Tell me what you've been working on.
The main thing I've been working on right now is health. Taking care of myself. Some of the injuries I'm dealing with my leg. I had some hand issues, so I've been going to the doctors a lot, like I kind of shared the last time I saw you. Yeah. But and with that, it's a lot of testing, MRIs, stuff that just drags on. But I'm doing it. It's all the stuff that I should have been doing before, and just didn't want to deal with it. Basically, just didn't. Yeah, it's not fun. It's boring. It's I don't want to hear what the outcome is. There's fear involved, all of that. But I'm doing it. I'm taking care of it, and so far so good. Like this morning, I was in a one-on-one with Brooke, and my phone rang, and it was a doctor for my hand that I didn't think I was going to be able to get in to see until March, like late March. But they had a cancellation, so they were able to get me in there. So I went there this morning, and I was, the last doctor I talked to before this, there was talk about a surgery. Well, I went today, and there is no surgery. The doctor's saying it can be done with physical therapy. It's going to take a while, but that's great. That's what I wanted to hear. Yes, So I'm like, all right. So yeah, so what I'm getting at is I'm getting through it, and some of these fears that I had are no longer there. Kind of like today, that was pretty good news for me to hear that. Yeah.
That's huge. And I'm a big believer in physical therapists. I've had more than my share of surgery, and I have also spent more than my share of time with physical therapists. And I made a decision a handful of years ago that I will never again let anyone do a surgery until I have exhausted all the physical therapy that I can, obviously barring some emergency. But I'm such a huge believer, and I'm really hopeful that game plan pays off for you, because I think it's quite likely that it can.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I'm all about surgery is a last, it's the very last thing. If anything else that can be done, I want to do that before surgery for sure. Yeah, I've had enough surgeries. I've had enough bad surgeries. I don't, want to ever go through any of them if I don't have to.
Yep, I've had two surgeries that didn't leave me any better than I was before I had them.
Yeah.
I recommend that.
Me too.
But the physical therapist did more to make me healthier and stronger than anything else would have. And of course, you also don't run the risk of having to take medication that's dangerous. You don't have anywhere near the relapse risk involved, and
that's right.
100 other really good reasons. So
and you're not laid up, you're not hospitalized. Yeah, you don't have to the risk of taking pain medication, all of that for sure.
Good. Well, I hope that pays off, and I just encourage you. I don't think I have to, but I encourage you to, whatever homework they give you, because some of it's boring and some of it's painful, but
yeah,
if you really commit yourself to following their instructions, there's good reason to hope you're going to get the outcome that you want there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I agree with you. With all that, unfortunately, it's taken me out of my little routine a little bit, which I heard you sharing with Mr. Barfield earlier. So because I've had to get to doctor's visits and all that, sure. but what I have been doing is with this time, I've been working with my sponsor even more than more than usual, and really diving into like my whole thing is NA. That's what's working for me. So it's like I'm really I've really been working hard with him while I've been home, like resting my leg and stuff with working on the steps.
Yep.
And for the first time in a long time, I'm really seeing the results. I'm feeling them, I'm seeing them in my way of thinking, my actions. It's helping me out with relationships I've been struggling with. My father, I think I shared with you before. I had lunch with him the other day.
Great.
Yeah. It's I've really been working hard on step work right now.
Well,
so.
and the big thing, and this is similar to what I was talking to Mr. Mullen about and why we broke up the phases in the new handbook. You have to feel the progress. Your phrase was, I'm seeing results. Because you have been working hard, and if you don't also see the results, which sometimes you can see for yourself and sometimes you get by virtue of feedback from other people, right, who say, I see the results.
Mm-hmm.
But that'll help give you the energy to keep putting in the hard work, because you don't get to just take a vacation from that, do you?
No, not at all. And that's exactly it. It's kind of lit a fire, relit a fire. Because I went to that, I kind of got like where, man, I was working hard and felt that burnt out feeling a little bit on recovery. I was like struggling, but with this and starting to work it again and seeing these results, it relit a fire, and got me excited again for recovery,
Well, I think something else that you mentioned that bears re-mentioning. So we talk about the routine and the power of the routine.
Yeah.
And your routine has been disrupted, but I would add a little footnote to our discussion. Because your routine was so strong, and because you really paid attention to what in that routine was important to you, what was actually sustaining your good frame of mind, and what might have just been, the gravy on top. When you got this little curveball with some of the medical stuff, you were able to basically make some substitutions. Okay, I can't do this, but I can do more with my sponsor over here. And so it's not a rigid routine. It's not a routine that never changes, but it is a routine that, if life throws something at you, you had worked enough on that routine, you had figured it out enough to know, all right, I'm gonna miss that, I'm gonna plug in this. And those adjustments, the ability to make those adjustments, look, that's the kind of stuff that the old timers that's why they're old timers.
Yeah.
Because life's gonna get lifey, and I don't mean to say that we worship one routine, but we do sure as heck pay attention to, hey, what do I absolutely need if I can't get out of the house today because I'm laid up? How do I substitute that and maintain my routine? Maybe it takes a different format, but I would suggest you are maintaining the routine. You've just had to adjust it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Fair statement, you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And one last thing I heard you share about earlier, and I'm big on it now just because what I'm seeing from his service. I'm still doing I'm still chairing a Saturday night meeting.
Okay.
Part of the service commitment,
Great.
But I'm taking on making coffee on Wednesday nights, just to keep the accountability there for me. So it is my home group, but just because from some of the stuff I'm going through, there's been a couple times where I felt like maybe I don't know, I've done a lot. Maybe I'm not going to go to this meeting Saturday night, but I had to because I had the commitment. And it always turns out to be a great meeting. It makes me so I'm feeling the power from it. So I'm like, that's why I'm taking on this Wednesday. It kind of separates the week a little bit, but it's really important for me. And I think it's good for me. It's service. I couldn't agree with you more.
I think that's great. And like I said, that, drug court, believe it or not, this will sound funny. And next I'm going to talk to Mr. Ferreira, who's our brand new participant, but drug court goes fast.
Yeah.
Fast. And so from where I sit, you have such a limited time to try to get everything out of it that we want you to. And I'm thrilled because everybody I'm talking to on today's call is putting the work in to get everything out that they can. But one of the things that you're working to get out of this is exactly that, is figuring out how to manage that schedule, because before you know it, we will not dictate your every waking moment. You'll phase to later phases, and like I was talking to Mr. Barfield, and if you have figured out, what's important, if you've made some service commitments, that is the structure and accountability. When drug court works best, you replace us with your own system of structure and accountability. Usually that works best in some form of a 12-step or other recovery group, but it can take a few different forms. I like what you're building there, and committing to something that makes you go even if you don't want to, even if you already met your requirement for drug court, it's paid off, right? And you're building something that you're going to keep long after we get out of your way, and that's the exciting part.
That's my goal too, and Your Honor, that's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish right now. Like, I really, you're right. Drug court seems like it is going to be fast. I'm setting this up for my life, for the rest of my life, because I'm trying to do this for the long haul, for sure. And it's like, I don't even pay attention to the timing of where I'm at with drug court, because it's just such a help right now to get me, tuned up for my life.
Sure. And it's always about being in the moment. It's always about taking things one day at a time. But I like to sort of clue you guys in when I see you doing things that I think are going to really help you well past drug court, so that you can kind of make a mental note of it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good.
Great.
Any problems, anything that we can be helping you with?
I don't think so. Not right now, Your Honor. Everything's good.
Okay. Well, keep up what you're working on. It sounds like a really good program coming into focus for you. So keep it up.
Yeah, thanks, Your Honor. Bye-bye.
And let me touch base now with Mr. Ferreira, our newest participant. Can you unmute the phone?
Yep.
There he is. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just getting acquainted to the house, and just being acquainted from being released. So just moving along with meetings. I had a great session the other night with Mr. James. We touched on triggers and causing relapses and high risk situations, and me recognizing, the different tools and different steps that I can take when I put myself in those kind of situations.
Okay.
Just taking it one stride at a time. I don't want to, like my mom always used to say, don't climb up the ladder too high, because the fall is further.
Okay.
So, just focusing on that. I feel pretty good. I feel really good, actually.
Yeah.
The signal is coming in clear, as I can say, and looking forward to the future.
Okay. Well, good. We're excited to have you. You heard me speak with Mr. Mullen a bit earlier and congratulate him for finishing the initial phase, which is that first 30 days. Mr. Leva, who I spoke to, is in between the two of you, also quite new. So there's a good number of you on today's call who are relatively new and in a similar space. And then you heard me talk to a couple of the other guys who have been at it for a while, and hopefully you heard from them some good cause for hope, and you know, heard that these guys are feeling pretty good about the way their lives are coming into focus.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, I did. I feel blessed all the way around, you know, and just the opportunity that I have right now, and I'm keeping my eye on the prize, Your Honor.
Yeah, yeah, and it really is in this stage, one day at a time, really even 1 hour at a time, and just staying focused on being open and honest about anything you need, asking for help. I think you'll find especially in the first few weeks, you might have a lot of questions, but if you ask, I think I can predict that you're going to be pretty pleased with how well this team can respond and try to help you with that.
Yeah, I was. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was saying to my case manager that she's gonna get sick and tired of me calling her. You know, so it's no, it's great. Everybody's great around me. The people that I'm surrounded by, it's different. You know, it feels a lot different than a lot of the other times. And I'm sure you probably heard that so many times, but you know, I feel really good about this.
Good. Well, it should feel different. I'm going to go out on a limb and suspect that you've never before walked out of the jail with this much help, with this much structure and accountability. So even for the guys, and I know earlier somebody was saying, oh, I had a year clean before my relapse, but even for the guys who have had some decent clean time before, there's every reason to expect this to be different in a good way, because you've got things going for you now that you've never had before. And if you just take advantage of it, you're going to be in really good shape.
Yeah. And like, it's nothing's going to be perfect forever. You know, I mean, this, you know, it's, you know, things always happen. So I got to be prepared for all that stuff that happens. And it's just, it's going to be a great structure for me to be around. People have been receiving me, and, you know, reaching out and telling me, you know, that they want to help. And even the gentlemen in the groups, you know, cause it's not always perfect. You know, yeah. Sobriety is not always perfect. I'm going to run into situations where I'm going to need you know, a life raft, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, so it's good to hear that some of the other guys are coming out and being warm and welcoming me and asking if I need anything or I need help. And it's awesome. It's really great what this program does. And, you know, it's really awesome. These people really want change in their lives. I want change in my life. I owe it to myself and the people that love me around me.
I think that makes great sense. And I credit James and Brooke and Jason and Nikki with really over the last several months creating, I don't have a better word than this, creating a really supportive vibe among the men and women in our program, among the team. And I think that's what you're sensing. We've got the guys in this program right now are really putting together an impressive program for themselves. And so, you know, you can't always assume that because somebody's in the rooms or somebody's in drug court that they're going to be perfectly good company. But at the moment, I feel pretty good about what our guys are doing. And I like hearing that guys are trying to be of service to each other, help out a little bit, maybe smooth your pathway through these first couple of weeks a little bit, because they've all been there. They all know how difficult it is. So I like hearing that you have had a decent reception, not only from the team, but also from the other guys. I'm not surprised, but I'm encouraged.
Yeah, I mean, everybody from the team to the gentlemen that are in the groups, and it's just been, like you said, it's just an all around good plan, a good program, a good plan. And, you know, they're with the time and everything with what's going on out and, you know, in this day and age, it's crucial to be up to par with everything that's going on. So it's really good. It's not overwhelming to where, you know, to where you feel like it's going to be a complete failure, where I've heard in the past, you know, you hear all the stories, but you know, it's awesome. It really is something great. And I'm glad, you know, glad to be a part of it. And I'm glad to have this opportunity. Actually, like you said, I've never been in an opportunity like this before.
Yeah, well, we're really excited to have you. And a few points that I make to everyone when they're new is you know, try to keep everything slowed down. Try to give yourself space to slow down and regroup throughout your day, at the start of the day, at the end of the day. And the best way to do that, I think probably yesterday you should have gotten a notebook and a bunch of paperwork with all the information you need. And you're very fortunate. You're in a really nice space there. If you didn't do it last night, do it tonight. Give yourself a little quiet time. Try to go through and really look at what's in that notebook. I think there's supposed to be some sheets in there for scheduling that you can write out all the stuff you've got to do. And I really encourage you to, if you haven't already, to use that, really write stuff up. You got it there?
Yeah, I was just going to show you, like, they hooked me up.
Good. The more you can make use of that, and I, especially for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks of drug court, I'm an old school paper girl. If you've got a nice phone, use the phone too. I think it was Mr. Leva was saying, I've got it written down and it's in my phone. That's fine. But especially for these early days, there's something about paper that the phone can't do, which is let you see a whole bunch at once, let you see your whole day at once, let you see maybe a couple of days at once, so that not because you want to get ahead of yourself, but just because you can quiet your brain down and see, okay, it's all on there. I just have to take one thing at a time and cross it off. If it makes you feel better, cross it off as you get it done. And that way you'll be able to just feel organized, feel a little more settled, a little less anxious. And I think that planner can really be a great tool, not just at the beginning, but especially at the beginning of your time with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. What you just said, because it really did. I did it last night.
Good.
I went through it, and I didn't even know that, you know, my case manager, she had it all mapped out for me. You know, I'm trying to put everything into my head and try to get everything together and say, all right, and I just opened it up and I happened to see everything is set for like 2 weeks. And I was like, thank God. I was like, wow, that's awesome.
Good.
It's really, these people are really on it.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. And so now it just becomes your job to use it, to look at that often. I know I've been guilty sometimes of having a perfectly good schedule, but I forget to check it. I think I got it and I don't check it and I miss something. So whether you're the kind of guy who wants to look at it before bed, or whether you're the kind of guy that wants to look at it as soon as you wake up, or both, but make sure that you're really checking in pretty regularly just to make sure, okay, I know what I've got to do. Take it one thing at a time and I'll get it done.
Yep, you got it.
Good. So anything, Mr. Ferreira, that I can help with at this point? Anything that's maybe been confusing or frustrating that you're still trying to sort out?
I'm actually, tomorrow I have another meeting tomorrow with Brooke, and then I'm going to work on me getting my hardship license. I actually already had my hardship license before, so I just got to find out. I know I have to do like a driver's class, which I just did like 3 months ago. So I need to find more information if I can just reinstate it, or do I have to take the driving class again because I just did it 3 months ago. So I'm just going to, plug away and start cracking away at that stuff. So it makes it a little more easier for me to get to places and looking for work. And that's it. Just start, I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to take it slow and just work it. I was trying to do everything, all today, but my mom's like, just relax, take it one day at a time. You have plenty of time to do things. So there's mom kicking in again.
There you go. Moms are great. And that is my other favorite point to make with newcomers, which is
you know, I did say slow it down, but I didn't say don't try to conquer it all in the first day or the first week. We'll give you plenty to do, but we are very serious about the idea that it's going to be progress, not perfection.
That's
And
right.
we'll try to, I know sometimes it'll feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, but we'll try to keep things at a pace that's useful. And if sometimes your mind might, you know, race ahead and just try to make a conscious effort to say, nope, I'm not going to indulge in that. I'm going to pull myself back to what do I have right now, and that's what my focus is. And it'll get easier and easier each day, I promise.
Yeah, and just I'd like to add too. I also met with my probation officer, and that went really smooth too. Great person.
Good.
So on both sides, where I think maybe in the past it was like tug of war with both of them, maybe, but I think it's like hand in hand now, and they kind of like are on the same page. So he was you know, awesome to you know, meet, and so everything's working out.
Good. Good. Well, I know when we got ready to wrap up together last week, I told you the one thing you really just have to keep front and center is honesty. And the probation officers, the case managers, everybody who works with this program, they're used to working with guys that they can trust to be honest with them about what's going on. So I think that's part of what you're seeing. Everybody's ready, willing, and able to help. Your part is just being honest with us, letting us know what you need, letting us know if anything has gotten away from you. And together we'll work on this journey. We'll get you where you want to go.
I'm looking forward to it, Your Honor.
Good. Good. Well, Mr. Ferreira, don't hesitate to ask for help. You're not going to burn us out, I promise. And it will get easier after the first few weeks as well. So anything that comes up, just ask. And if the case manager or the probation officer can't answer, they can reach into the rest of us and we can work together to get you an answer. Okay?
I'm looking forward to it, Your Honor. I appreciate it. Thank you for the hand and the nice gesture.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to have you. And it's, you know, it's always nice when the docket works out that I've got a really good variety of guys today, some who are much deeper into the program, some who are brand new. You know, Mr. Ferreira, seeing you on day one, or I guess technically day two, you know, Mr. Barfield, Mr. Brian, Mr. DePasquale, who've been with us a little bit longer, you're helping them because you're keeping this nice and fresh for them. You're bringing them right back to exactly how it felt for them to be in their second day and the first day talking to the judge. It's a two-way street, and you guys, you got to hear from them, they got to hear from you, and that's part of our evil plan, because y'all are helping each other by sharing what you've shared today. So that's great.
Yep.
Good. Good. Well, with that, I apologize. I started late. I'm going to end a few minutes early, but everybody, it was a nice clean docket. So that's great. Couple weeks in a row of just being able to enjoy talking to you guys and hearing about all the great progress you're making. No matter how far you are in the program, it's always day one. So make sure you're asking for help if you need anything at all. Keep being honest with us and keep up the great work. Okay, guys, have a good week. I'll see some of you next week, some of you in 2 weeks. Great job.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate
well done,
it.
everybody. Welcome.
Okay, thanks.